Hello everyone, it's Dylan from Yugioh Everything, and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains episode review. This time we will be reviewing episode 32. Now, the subs on Crunchyroll came out a little later in the day yesterday, and my Wednesday nights are very, very hectic, so that is why the review is a day late. It was not on me, it was on the subbing team or whatever went wrong. It was some kind of production issue they said on Crunchyroll, but nevertheless, the episode did come out around 2 p.m. subbed yesterday as opposed to 7 a.m., at least where I live, which again is why the review is out a day late, but I still hope you guys are excited to talk about the episode. I literally just finished watching. I didn't even have a chance to watch it until about an hour ago, and I have to say I really enjoyed the episode. I thought it was a good episode. I thought it was a great episode for one character in particular, Specter. We have wondered now for so long, is Specter really that right-hand man? Because for the first 32 episodes, he's probably been absent in about 20 of them, and he hasn't really done anything besides say maybe 3 or 4 lines to Revolver. We haven't seen him kind of act. You know, we haven't really seen him execute anything, and boy oh boy did that change in this episode. He is that creepy, seemingly unhinged. He's the kind of character that when he's on screen makes you feel a little uncomfortable. And I think that is, that was Vector and Zexal. That was Yuri in Arc 5. That was, to me, it was Divine. It was Sayer in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D. And that is the character Specter reminded me so much of, more so than Yuri and Vector. He reminded me so much of Divine. I'm not really sure why. He just kind of had that feeling about him. And while Revolver can be the leader of this group and be the, the calm, calculated guy who maybe is a little off, but not really unhinged, and you don't really get that uneasy watching him as you do with Specter. Specter is just, he has that creepy vibe about him, and I think that is what a villain should be, and those are the kind of villains that I love, so I loved Specter in this episode. Starting from the beginning, Yusaku, and of course I want to hear all your thoughts on this, if you guys like Specter's character or not, and the duels now are so unpredictable. I have no idea who's going to win, Specter or Blue Angel, and I want to hear your guys' thoughts on that as well down below. Who do you think is going to win? And I will be covering the 33 summary and cast list most likely in a video tomorrow, so definitely stay tuned for that, but I'm not going to talk about any summary or spoiler stuff in this video, obviously. But anyway, we start, and Playmaker and Kusanagi are analyzing the data that Ghost Girl presented with them. Ghost Girl's final wish, I guess you can say, her final act of bravado. And they analyze the data, and they learn that if this plan goes through, they have 6 hours, and every hour a ring is going to appear around the tower. And if the plan goes through, it's basically going to be an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse. An EMP would basically just destroy everything technology related, and it would send the world into chaos, as Kusanagi notes. So obviously, this is a serious thing, that not only is it going to destroy VRains, now this is something that is pretty much going to destroy the entire world, the entire network, even outside of VRains. So obviously, these stakes are extremely, extremely high, and Playmaker knows the only way to stop this, and we as the viewer know the only way to stop this, is for Revolver to be defeated. And there was another thing that was stated where if Playmaker is assuming that by defeating Revolver and by ending this, Ghost Girl will be saved, and all the people that were turned into data, will be saved. So if they don't, because I think what's going to happen, I'm pretty sure I understood this correctly, is they're going to use the energy from all the data that they're collecting from humans, from buildings, whatever it may be, from duelists, to then, use it kind of as a bomb that's going to destroy everything in the network. I think that's kind of what's going on. So obviously, if they use that data as a bomb, they are literally destroying all of the data. So the data of all the buildings is gone permanently. The data of all the people are gone permanently. So these are, serious, permanent, mass genocide deaths if this occurs. And it is Yu-Gi-Oh!, so it probably won't occur, but you just don't know that. Maybe this is going to be the first time where a major twist happens and something like this does actually occur. So, I doubt it, but when you have that thought in the back of your head, it's just going to really make you root for Playmaker and root for Team VRains, which has basically been created. Playmaker going Blue Angel. I thought that was a cool sequence. All join Link VRains at the same time, right after Specter makes his unnerving threat to the pigeon and the frog, which they were hilarious in this episode. I actually thought Ignis was pretty funny too. Ignis is growing on me as a character. He is growing on me. The funniest event was when Go was talking about him, and he was just like, you can call me Professor I or Lord I, and he keeps dressing and poking further and further closer to Go, and then Blue Angel just changes the topic, and he's like, are you ignoring ignoring me. So he's growing on me a bit, and I think the humor, which was annoying in the beginning of VRains to me, I think that's gotten a lot better, and maybe I'm just more used to it now, but I definitely appreciated I in this episode a little bit, and the frog and the pigeon. Those two are the goats of VRains, to be completely honest. Another really funny like real life thing that I noted, there's so many stories that happen in the news, and a lot of times major news outlets don't cover a lot of the stories that happens. So even if there's like this huge thing that happens, a major news outlet won't necessarily cover it. And that's like exactly what happened with Naoki, where he wants to know about what's going on with VRains. He's changing the channels, and he's like, it's all fluff. And then he goes to the forums, and the forums cover everything. There's a forum for literally every single event that happens in the world. And usually they're pretty negative, and they're pretty like, oh god, this is like maybe a little fringe even. And so Naoki's reading the forums, and obviously we don't know what they said unless you read Japanese. But Naoki's just like, oh, this is scary. And he's like, I better not go into VRains for a while. So I don't know what was said, but I thought that was so funny, where like the major news outlets don't cover a story you want to hear about. You look it up on the internet, and just like Googling your illness symptoms on the internet is never a good idea. This is never a good idea as well. And to look up kind of news articles, especially from kind of fake sites, I guess you can say. There's a lot of fake sites on the internet. Obviously, that's a whole big thing going on with Facebook and everything. And so I thought that was kind of, and I think VRains has done a lot of that, where they've done a lot of realistic kind of comparisons to the show and to real life, and kind of some jokes and plays on the real world, which I definitely do appreciate. I really do appreciate that. Let's talk about Kitamura for a little bit. Kitamura was absolutely spineless, and I was convinced that he was going to die in this episode, and he absolutely did. He did die. He got turned into Data, but he was absolutely spineless in this episode. Tried to join the Knights of Hanoi, pretty much was trying to make a deal with Revolver that, they could rule the world together. They could rule VRains together, and he was going to stab Soul Technologies in the back. And he's just, I don't think anyone feels bad for the guy. He was an absolute prick. Even when the duelists are getting killed and they lost control of VRains, his first thought should be, geez, these people are dying. What can I do to save these people? What can I do to help my company? What can I do to help the people that are in my company's program? But instead, all he's concerned about is himself, getting that promotion, turning this into a positivity thing, which is why he tried to make a plea with the Knights. He's an absolute spineless coward, and that's putting it nicely. And I was glad to see Revolver leave, and he said, well, we're going to put you to the test. And then Specter so creepily duels him. Specter finishes him off. We don't know if Kitamura even put up a good fight, because we only see the final blow, and Specter defeats him. And after Specter defeated him, he knew exactly. He turns him into Data, and that was a great sequence. Specter ripped him a new one. And again, Specter in this episode was great. The mannerisms that he had, the creepy facial expressions, even just the creepy sentences, especially with Blue Angel towards the end, and even with Kitamura, about how he knew Kitamura was trying to manipulate Revolver, and about how he knew he was being filmed and immediately turns to the camera and looks it in the eyes and issues a threat to anyone, and he's just hiding in an alley waiting for Blue Angel. The guy is just unnerving, and I absolutely loved it, and I cannot wait to see more of him and hear more of him in the next episode. And again, he just gave me those Divine Sayer vibes, which again, Divine was one of my favorite villains ever. He actually made my top 10 antagonist list, but he could have done a lot more, a lot of wasted potential with the Arcadia movement and with his character. So the fact that Specter reminds me so much of him already earned Specter a big thumbs up in my eyes, and I'm very excited to see him going forward. And that's where we kind of are right now. Blue Angel, Playmaker, and Go all have a really cool team moment, all have a really cool, good luck. Hopefully we live through this. Blue Angel even says, if we all don't die, I hope we get to see each other again. All these three know that this is it. And this is the first time in VRains where it really feels like we are kind of at the final battle almost. I know we're not at the final battle, but we're definitely approaching it. I mean, we know that the only other really Knight of Hanoi member besides Specter is Kogami. And besides those two, after those two get duels, you imagine it will be Playmaker versus Revolver, unless they randomly introduce another character, because Gnome, Vira, and Faust are all gone, and I doubt they're going to have Playmaker versus a Knight of Hanoi grunt. That would be so stupid. In fact, we haven't even seen any Knight of Hanoi grunts. It's almost like maybe they sacrificed all the Knight of Hanoi grunts. Now, wouldn't that be dark? All the people that joined, all the low-level, worthless people, as Revolver called them, and that would, again, just continue to villainize this group, sacrificed all those grunts to use them as Data. that would be pretty insane if they did something like that, and I think that would be really, really cool. Clearly, this is already a legitimate villains group. I think this is also the first time the Knights of Hanoi really do feel like the villain group, because for the longest time, I always had Soul Tech in the back of my head, and I still feel that Soul Tech will play a part in a very villainous way down the road, but right now especially that we have the introduction of Specter, because Specter is the first character in the Knights of Hanoi that is, like, creepy and unnervingly evil. Revolver was just, like, he seemed someone who, and he still seems like someone who has a bunch of different motivations, and his mindset is in maybe the right place. He's a tough character to read, Revolver, but with Specter, you know what you're getting. You're getting someone who is dead loyal to Revolver. That was another interesting thing. He was dead loyal to Revolver, it seemed, based off some of his dialogue, and again, there were a lot of theories that maybe he was going to switch sides, but based on the opening that he's standing in front of all the Hanoi grunts as maybe the new commander, but those theories right now, maybe he'll revive the Knights of Hanoi if Revolver gets defeated and changes sides. But right now, Specter seems very loyal to Revolver, and he's that creepy, unnerving, uneasy character that, every time Yuri came on screen, I craved watching Yuri, at least until, post-Zark. And I'm getting that same feeling with Specter, the same thing with Divine and 5Ds, and the same thing with Vector towards the end of Zexal, and in the beginning of Zexal it was 4, it was Quattro. So I just love those kind of characters, and I think Specter has filled that role really well. Yes, it's only been one episode, but I've been craving a villain like this in Yu-Gi-Oh! VRains. I think that's the one thing that VRains has lacked so far, and I'm just glad we finally have it in Specter, because he is everything I could have asked for in a villainous character. So, anyway, guys, leave all your thoughts down below. Overall, enjoyed the episode, and let me know what you think about predictions for Blue Angel vs. Specter. I will give my formal prediction in the video tomorrow, but right now, I'm very 50-50 on this. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the review. Leave all your thoughts down below. I'm closing my school building tomorrow, and then I'm on winter break until January 10th, so expect a slew of videos these next 2.5 weeks. I'm very excited for that as we approach 30,000. Can we reach 30,000 before the end of the year? That would be incredible. Even if we reach 30,000 in June, that will still be incredible. So I'm very excited. Again, the support you guys give me is always amazing. Gonna wrap things up because I could go on and on and on. Leave your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.